So if you could be here around 9, that would be great. Okay?
Well, listen here.
Hello, and welcome to 90 Day Fiancé MK. I'm Mr. O, and today, Miss H and I will be discussing Season 6, Episode 13 of Before the 90 Days. In this episode, Meisha gets a green light from Nico's family, Christian makes more friends at a random bar, David goes ring shopping, Riley comes clean about hiring the private investigator, Amanda realizes that maybe some of these things are her fault, and Gino and Jasmine have 2 blowout fights. As always, we'll end with our Students of the Week, class dances, and life lessons. Alright, thanks for listening, stay safe, and enjoy.
Hello, Mr. O.
Hello, Miss H.
How are you today?
I'm pretty tired because
samesies.
Finished you're tired. You're more tired than I am. I just finished my second day of school, which is always
That's tiring. Yeah.
It is tiring, and it's funny because both of my kids finished their second day of school and got home and took a nap immediately.
Oh my gosh!
I fell asleep on the couch. What happened?
With my new job, I get home too late to really take a reasonable nap.
Well, that's the time I've always gotten home. Yeah.
No, not for me. Yeah.
All right. I think. Oh, do I have to go? Do I have to double up first? I do.
Yeah, we didn't see Dempsey and Statler. We didn't see Tyree and Carmela, hopefully ever again.
Yes, hopefully ever again. So we have to start with me, a double dose from my group. I drew the short straw this time, apparently. Yeah. So let's start with Riley and Violet. So it's only 2 days left in Riley's trip, and he says he's sunk 2 years into this relationship, so he doesn't want to give it up. So they're together in the marketplace, and Riley hesitantly tries and some durian and really, really doesn't like it. She describes it as dog shit roasted in garlic butter.
Oh God.
It's we all know if you've had it, it's certainly an acquired taste. So Violet tells him that her mom and her go to this market every day, and Riley is just still reeling over not just the enduring taste of the durian, but all the smells. He has a towel that he just keeps putting in front of his face and his nose. And he's just I need water, you need to give me water now. So Violet recaps what happens with the kites and how she basically made him mad by saying she had no regrets about anything. And Violet tells Riley her feelings, which is that she feels like she's always honest with him and he never believes her. And she wants to know what it is that Riley's exes did to him that made him like this. So he tells her a series of stories about being gaslit by one ex regarding cheating. There was a trapped in the closet scenario situation where he was caught cheating and where he caught her cheating. And that means he doesn't trust easily, especially any woman. I don't trust women, basically. So Violet is that's not right that one woman wronged you and now you take it out on every woman, including me. So Riley says that, people need to earn his trust, which is what all the questions are about. It's him giving her a chance to earn his trust. So they come back to the subject of her texting his dad, which she now finally says she's sorry for doing. So after that conversation, Riley is feeling good and wants to enjoy the time they have left together with a bus tour of the city. So while they're on this bus tour, besides being continuously hit with branches, they just keep driving through trees and Riley decides that this is the time to be completely honest with Violet and tell her that he talked to a private investigator to look into her background, but didn't pull the trigger and actually he just talked to him. He didn't hire him. She's very upset about this and says that this is not a suitable relationship if that's the kind of thing he wants to do. He tries to tell her that checking up on people's backgrounds like this is common in his country, but also that, it's in the past now, and he gives a big speech about trying to move past this. But she's just sad and angry and wants to go home. So I guess the question I had when I watched this is, what country is Riley from? Because I'm from America, and hiring a private investigator to look into your girlfriend's background is not normal or common.
No, it definitely isn't. Although I feel like if it was easily accessible to run a background check, that probably more people would do that. There used to be this app that my friend showed me when we were all single. And you used to be able to enter in someone's phone number and it would pull up if they had any criminal records, parking tickets, if they own property, if they had like, if they had marriage on file somewhere, divorce. It was kind of crazy, right? And it didn't give you too many details. It just said that these things existed, that there were records of these things. And you best believe, like, during this small window of time that this app was up and running, we used it all the time, But later on, that app, like, I don't know what happened to it. Just like, doesn't exist anymore.
I will say that the state of Maryland lets you search the criminal checks for literally anyone all the time, and I definitely, anytime I get like close to even like people who are like getting to be good friends, I'm like, I'm gonna run this person through case search and see what's up. Like,
yeah,
most of the time as nothing comes back, for sure.
Right. So, I mean, I don't think he's wrong, but I also don't think he's right, if that makes sense. Like, there certainly are people, and it's not just our country. I feel like it's people, right, that have a curiosity, that do get kind of anxious and obsessed about, like, finding out more about this person, that they would go to great lengths to find out about them. But I also feel like most people recognize that that's kind of crazy, right? And they show some restraint and they don't do it.
Yeah, and it's a weird time to do it. Like, I do think it's important that you verify that your partner is not on the sex offender registry. That's probably an important thing to do. Right? But you do that like after, like, oh, things seem going pretty well after date 1 or date 2. Not like when you've committed to, I'm about to be engaged to this person. Maybe I should find out if they've committed any crimes. And we're not even talking about crimes. We're talking about like looking into her. And it's also his reasoning for doing it. It's not like, hey, I just need to make sure everything's in the clear. I need to make sure I'm not putting my children at risk with anything. He's like, I feel like she's hiding something from me. I have to dig deeper to find out what it is.
Well, yeah. And I think like what he's trying to find isn't something that you're going to get from a background check, right? He wants to know, is she talking to other men? Which is why he has to hire someone like a private investigator who's going to like stalk her around, right? I feel like most people like here, if there's like mistrust, maybe, but it is not common for people around like in America or whatever to like hire a private investigator.
No, it's not. I don't know anyone who didn't hire a private investigator that wasn't about if someone was violating the divorce agreement and they didn't have to give him alimony anymore. Like, that's pretty much it, right?
That's funny because I was thinking, I was like, yeah, that seems like, because you need to know, are they shacking up with someone else? Like,
Yeah. What's going on there? And so I can stop giving you money. Like that, not the what's going on there. So I can know if you're okay to marry. I was like, no, that's a bad. That's a bad. Although, of course, he did that. He annoyed the crap out of me with the bad tasting thing and not being able to deal with something that smelled or tasted bad and just being like, I'm sorry, I can't concentrate. I'm feeling, oh my gosh, my feelings.
Okay, well, I have to say that he's not wrong in that it's a very, very strong smell.
Yes.
Right? It's incredibly strong. So it's one of those things where I get what he's saying, but he's being a bit dramatic. I also feel like his description of it isn't completely wrong. But I don't know. It's got a very unique smell, but it is very strong. Like you can smell it. Like if it's somewhere.
Oh no, that's why they have like
abandoned hotels.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So he's not wrong. I just felt like he was being a bit dramatic.
That's what got me. It wasn't the fact that it was like, I don't like the way that smells and it's bothering me. It's that he had the towel held over his face and oh my God, you got to get me water. You got to get me water. I need water. Like, stop being so dramatic about it.
Yeah.
That's the part that pops me for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's talk. Oh my God, let's talk. I'm gonna go to this one because we got it in the middle here, and these people are boring as hell.
Oh, I was going to say dramatic, but
no. Amanda and Razvan are boring as hell.
Yeah.
So since after the last time we saw them separately, Razvan is returning to the room to speak with Amanda, and there's many emotions. So he thought their relationship was getting stronger, but the fight from last night was what he described as the worst night of his life. So he sits down and tries to start a conversation about what happened. He says that he was hurt by the things she said and asks what her true feelings are. She tells him that, quote, obviously she loves him. I don't think that's very obvious at all,
I don't think it's obvious at all.
But maybe they're just too different. Specifically, she kind of thinks he won't do anything to provide for the family. Like, she can't imagine him working as a janitor to earn money while working on his dream. She says that she's going to have to take care of him in the U.S. And like she doesn't want to have to take care of a man. She wants a man that's to take care of himself or whatever. And he's supposed to take care of the family, which that's not how the visa works. He literally, we know he can't work when she, But he says that he'd never ask her for money. He's always made his own way. He's never even asked his parents for money. But she says that he's missing the point. And then he's like, okay, what's the point? And she was like, ugh. So he kind of guesses that maybe she needs a guy that has stability like Jason, which is an unfair thing to spring on him now since he has not been shy about his hopes and dreams and goals and how he wants to do things. So she tells him that she wanted him to be the right person, but maybe they're just not right for each other. He begins to cry and says it isn't fair because you told me different things from now, and I don't get what changed or what I did wrong. So she then finally starts to get closer to what we all assume the truth is and says that maybe it's just her and she's not ready to be in any relationship and it's just all too much. Then she starts going on about how scary this all is. But she's probably just coming up with excuses for them to break up because she says she really doesn't want to do this now. So Razvan asks her if she still wants to leave, like she said last night, but neither of them want to commit to her leaving or her staying without more thinking. So after that discussion, there is a long, awkward drive back to Bucharest, where they both are just kind of silent in the car. So he asks what she is thinking, and she says she's tired, and he's tired, but still wants this relationship. So we see an interview where Amanda says that her past trauma, meaning the death of her husband, maybe have interfered with this relationship a little bit. So she says that if it was a normal time and place, Razvan would be a great partner, but it's not normal time or place. So in the car, she apologizes for putting him in this situation and says that it's not right, but also says that she doesn't really want to break up. So apparently they had this whole trip to Croatia planned tomorrow to meet his parents. And Amanda says that she'd like to stay and work on things and go meet his family. And he says, okay. So Razvan tells us that a part of him wants to end things, but it's too hard to let her go. So he doesn't want to cancel this Croatia trip. And it looks like they get back late just in time to pack up again. So he's not sure where things stand because some things you can say that you can't take back, like comparing him to her dead husband. So he gets up to take a shower, and Amanda kind of, after all of his silence that he's been doing, says this isn't going to work if you keep acting like this, which she describes as cold and distant. So she says she's not sure if they can get back on the right track before she leaves. So my question, why didn't this relationship end right now? Why are they still trying to be together? I
feel like she's just very immature. Everything about her is just very immature. Mm-hmm. I actually was pretty surprised at how self-aware she seemed to be in this episode. Finally saying oh, well, I probably was moving on too quickly and I'm not ready to be in a relationship and maybe I am trying to sabotage this thing. I was like, yes. Finally, you're getting it, right? But I also feel like she's immature with, she's been immature with how she's kind of dealt with this relationship, by sabotaging it without kind of recognizing it. But now that he has kind of been okay, I'm more removed from this. I'm not as into you. All of a sudden it's she needs that affirmation. It doesn't matter that it's this relationship that's doomed to failure. And she could have easily walked away considering she was sabotaging it. But I feel like she's immature and she doesn't get herself enough to realize that it's always going to be this push and pull with her because it really depends on how available the other person is. If they become too available, she freaks out about how serious this relationship is and she pushes them away. And she pushes them away just enough where they are well, I'm not dealing with this. And then she's like, wait, where'd you go? And has to reel them back in by all of a sudden. Did you see how affectionate she was being in this episode? She hasn't been like that this entire time. In fact, we question, does she even like the dude? Yeah, that's a pretty good observation that I hadn't really
thought of, is that it has to do with his availability. And as soon as he became more distant, as soon as he wasn't totally into her, it was, well, I feel like we should make this work then. Oh, well, you know, you have to work on things to make it. And it was as soon as he's a little harder to get, all of a sudden that's all she wants. Right. But when he's there, it's just, this is too much, too fast. I can't deal with this. Get away. And I don't know. So I think it's kind of falls on him there too, because he kind of also said at some point something like, yeah, I feel like breaking up is probably the right choice. Like this is we probably should do that. But I wish I knew the hold this girl has on him. He is just super into her.
He is. It is a little odd to me because she's acted nothing but a rag this entire time.
Yeah,
you know?
Like I said, I started my summary being like, these people are boring. She is one of the most boring people that's ever been on the show. She just is a wet blanket on everything. Anytime he comes in with any kind of energy, and maybe it's that push and pull again. Yeah. She just deflates his balloon. She deflates our balloon. She doesn't say anything or do anything funny. She doesn't seem like she's enjoying herself ever.
No.
Like, it's just, she's just a wet blanket. She seems like
she hates life.
Yeah.
Like she's such a negative like person. And I'm just like, oh, she's not likable at all. There's nothing about her that is likable.
No. Yeah. No. It's definitely the person that you'd be talking to at the party and be like,
okay, I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So moving on to another couple that has a little less of that push and pull. That's Meisha and Nicola. They're meeting with his mom and his brothers. Nico is giving Meisha space on the couch, and Meisha believes that he's chickening out of telling his family about their relationship. Nico's brother Andy asks how they know each other, and Nico tells this kind of long story of how he was correcting Meisha's religious knowledge, which, is the key to every woman's heart, to be corrected.
Yeah, correcting them. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Which led them to talking every day, and it's been 3.5 years. Nico says that Meisha is his girlfriend, and they are hoping to get engaged in the next couple of days. His brothers are shocked that it's been 6 years, and they have barely heard anything about her. Meisha asks Andy and his other brother Mickey to tell their mom about the impending engagement. They do, and she doesn't look too happy, but then she says she is very happy as she breaks into a smile and then some tears. Meisha tells them that they're going to move to America. The brothers ask how mom will feel about never seeing Nico again, and Nadia, mom, says bye, adding that she will visit them in America. Nadia, by the way, took this very well, and she seems to be super stoked. Mm-hmm. So Nico then tells them that Meisha is divorced with 2 kids, and Mickey is surprised, noting that they know very little details about her or their relationship. But they're all surprised he's not taking a virgin. Nadia doesn't seem to care that Meisha is divorced because all she cares about is that Nico's getting married before she dies. His brothers think that maybe Nico was worried about his image, marrying a divorcee, and that's why he's been so private about this whole thing. Meisha has been really impressed of how accepting and welcoming his family has been, especially about the news of their impending engagement. Meisha is wondering why she had to fight so hard to get Nico to tell his family about them, and thinks that Nico might be the one who's really the judgmental one and not his family. Nico is very happy his family had such a positive reaction. So later, Nico is taking Meisha to see Accra, which has a very rich history. Meisha tells us that she was confused by Nico's hesitation to introduce her to the family and didn't want to bring the negativity with her questions at the time. So they sit down at a restaurant where Nico knows the server, and Meisha gets embarrassed at him yelling his order across the room. Nico seems annoyed at her objections and tells her that they aren't in Minnesota. Meisha says that she wants to talk to him about what happened yesterday, and Nico starts off by praising how well it went. Meisha says it seems that he wanted them to dislike her and that she feels like he's more bothered about her past and it's not actually cultural as he claims. He denies that he has any problems with her and says that he loves her a lot. And now Nico is starting to doubt her doubts of his doubt. Okay, so do you think that Meisha just let it go and like, you know, call it a win? The family liked her, so who cares that Nico thought that they wouldn't like her?
She probably should, but I also don't think she's wrong. Like, like this whole "I'm not a virgin" thing was a hang up for someone.
Yes.
Turns out it wasn't a hang up for his family. So like, where was that coming from? I feel like, were you putting on the family? Like, because it wasn't like they were, you know, oh, I guess we can accept it. I'm not happy about it. They were just like, who gives a shit? I don't care. Like, yeah. Like, right. Which, I mean, I also think goes with Nico being that kind of juvenile, like immature that we always talk about, right? Just assuming that the parents were kind of assuming that his mom doesn't even understand how the real world works. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, I feel like his mom is like, you're 46 years old. You're not going to find a 46-year-old virgin. What are you kidding me? Like, she, you know, she's a realistic person who is like, whatever. Yeah, I never thought I'd get rid of you. Like, so anybody that would take you off my hands is great.
Right.
Like, and, you know, when the boys, and it seems like the guys were like, the family was also like, we're surprised you're okay with that more than anything else, right? We all knew that's what the score was already.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just feel like I get that she's upset that he's judgmental, and it's a fair enough conclusion considering the family. Yeah. You know, and like I could see how he would be projecting his judgment onto his family. But yeah, mom was like super stoked.
Yeah. I mean, that's 100% believe that mom was like, this dude's never getting married. I'm never having any grandkids. Now that's still on the table, the never having any grandkids thing. But like, you're never going to give me any grandkids, but like, I'm never going to be rid of him. He'll be here forever. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, this is better.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. It sounds like they're going to get engaged soon.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. After he specifically takes her to like the Crusader village, which I thought was a little weird. Like, it's one of those things that's just like, you know, he does that. He always says everywhere they go has, oh, this is hugely historically significant. This has great meaning for everyone here. Like, oh, it's like, and this time it was like, why? And it's like, well, when the Muslims like kicked the Crusaders out of Jerusalem, they came here. It's like, yeah. Oh, this guy's literally just siding with the Crusaders. Awesome. That is really not the way modern people tend to look at things, but okay. So I don't know. But you're right. It seems like they'll get engaged soon because it seems like, I mean, we're getting to that wrap up stage of the stories. All the obstacles that they had at the beginning, they're out of the way now.
Yeah, but then also I just don't see this couple getting married. Am I the only one?
I'm always surprised by some of them. The look is that I think Meisha realizes how immature he is, right? And how he doesn't even know what he's getting into when he says he wants to get married. Right. And is also a really good actress and is able to be like, well, we'll fill the rest of his trip and I'll go home and be like, yeah, about all that. Right. Don't make it awkward now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I cannot see this couple really moving forward. She just seems like so more like experienced.
Yeah, no, she is.
Self-aware.
She's been in relationships. She's more, yes, she is self-aware. She is more emotionally mature. Yes,
all those things.
Right, things like that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Good luck.
All right. Other people that need luck. Let's go. Oh my God. Let's hit Christian and Cleo first. We'll get a little more fun on that one. So Christian and Cleo are on their way to a costume shop first. So Cleo is concerned about some of the things that came up during the astrological reading, but she wants to connect by putting together some cosplay with Christian. Cosplay for what? I don't know. They're just trying on costumes and it's fun. So he says he still wants things to work out, and I think that's totally possible. So Christian's ideas are looking through the costume shop is like, hey, maybe let's do like a 20s gangster and flapper thing. And apparently He's a little difficult to outfit because the guy who at the costume shop is just like, your neck is so tiny. I've never seen a tinier neck than this. This is just, oh my God, like almost to the point where he's like calling other people over. It's like, have you ever seen a 14-inch neck? Look at this guy, which is weird because I think 14 inches is small, but it's not like that small. Like, I don't know.
Maybe he just has a lot of larger people.
Yeah, I could
going through.
Yeah, it just, to me, 14 inches it's definitely small, but it's not like I've never seen a neck this small. Anyway, so they change in, they have that, and in all this while, he just wants to put on the thing so he can do the gangster voice, and he does it a lot. So he's just annoying. I don't know. It's kind of, they change into some like knight, King Arthur, Guinevere maiden thing, which him in the fake knight costume really does it for Cleo. She's like, oh my goodness, this is I can't believe I pulled this guy. And I was like, that I can.
I know. I was going to say, really? Ew. I was very surprised. But I mean, different folks for different strokes. Different strokes for different folks.
The other one? Yeah. Okay. So he's in this outfit when he springs a surprise. So he has a necklace to show his love for her. At least better than the promise ring that we've seen before in other ones, right? So notice how he said love in there to show his love for her. See? So now at this point, Cleo just thinks that he's a good-hearted, goofy boy that has made some mistakes and is hopeful that their relationship is moving in the right direction. So the next thing that comes up is Christian's Thanksgiving dinner with Cleo and her friend Jane. So he's going to be in the UK over Thanksgiving, so he's going to make just, the traditional US Thanksgiving dinner that they don't really have in the UK and, do that. And so he's there and he has to explain all the Thanksgiving traditions, which Cleo was really excited about. She just doesn't know much about it except for there's apparently a lot of food. But apparently, according to Christian, most of those definitions means passing up all of the fresh fruits and vegetables for stuff in cans. Like, she's like, should we get this fresh corn? He's like, no, cream corn from a can. Should we get these lovely cranberries? No, we need the jelly stuff. Like, oh man, which I'm not even sure you can get in the UK. Like, I had a hell of a time finding peanut butter. It's a whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they seem to have done okay. They don't really stick with that. They have all their groceries and they get back to the apartment. Cleo she has a long class she needs to attend. So while she's there, Christian spends some time. He says, I'll hang out. I'll go to the pub maybe. And he seems like he had a lot of time at the pub because when Cleo gets back, yes, he's quite buzzed. He was like, basically like, I didn't drink all the wine. I left you a glass because I didn't want to drink all of it. So he says that he went bar hopping, and when he was bar hopping, he even met a girl. And that girl was American.
Infuriating.
Yeah, and she was American, and of course you had to talk. How I was obviously going to talk to the American girl at the bar, and they actually have this on film, which is like, oh my God, him at the bar. He like orders a drink, and she's there, and he's like, well, I'm not usually a big drinker, but when I'm out here on vacation, it's like, no, you are usually a big drinker. Literally all you've talked about is drinking. Anyway.
Yeah, right? I was just like, liar. What world are we in right now?
So anyway, we see at the end where he's like, I need to add you to my socials before they leave. So when they kind of flash back forward, and he tells Cleo that he actually invited her to Thanksgiving, which is surprising to Cleo since she's like, it takes me years before I'm comfortable enough inviting someone into my house. Yeah. And Cleo is also like, that's not cool. Like, I have all these new recipes to make. I'm trying to cook food and there's a stranger around. That sounds horrible to her. So she's concerned that Christian is still just going around bars and chatting up women that seem to have what she is missing, that being like, non-social anxiety. So what is wrong with this guy? Why on earth would he invite this woman back to this apartment, to this party?
I have no idea. This guy is like, when Cleo said, like, I can't believe I pulled this guy, I was like, ew. And he's terrible. He's so terrible. And I just think, like, he is such a liar.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't ever drink unless I'm on vacation. It's like bullshit. Total bullshit.
Yes, I don't usually drink that much. And then before he left, he was like, we saw of him before he left America was drinking the night before he was leaving, getting up, eating breakfast, drinking at breakfast. And like, we've literally never seen him not drinking.
No, like he's such a liar. And then his whole like, oh, it's just innocent. I just want to talk to this girl. Really? Why? Why are you just trying to talk to these random girls? Inviting them over, having absolutely no consideration. Okay, now let's just say, for argument's sake, that he really is oblivious, right? And completely not self-aware that, he really does drink a lot and that he, comes off as a creep, like just talking to these random girls. Let's just like pretend he doesn't get any of that. It's like, even if you think it's innocent to invite some random over, like, did you think about how Cleo would feel about it?
You're inviting him to her house.
I know. You're having her cook for another woman. You don't think that she might feel a little jealous about that? It's like, it's just completely inconsiderate. I hate this dude.
Yeah, I mean, so to me, and that's to me the biggest tell is we've seen a few times of him doing this. I'm just friendly, man. I talk to people when I'm around. Okay, so we've seen 3 times or heard about 3 times he's did this. This time, the weird airplane bullshit, right? And the other time, the first time they went out in the bar and there was a group of women. Guess what they all were? Women. Yeah. Has he ever chatted up a guy, met the American man at the bar, invited him to Thanksgiving? No, it's always women. You're hitting on these women. Whether he wants to admit it to himself or not, he's hitting on these women. He has to stop pretending like he's not. And,
right.
And we're going beyond like Cleo, who tells him from the get-go, people make me nervous. I get intense anxiety around new people. And he's just always inviting new people around.
Yeah, he is so, like I said, such a liar. Like, how can you say that you are never making the first move?
We saw him make the first move. Like, literally saw him. It wasn't like he got the beer and was like, well, hey there, what's up? And he's like, oh, you're American? Like, we know he makes the first move.
God, I hate this guy so much.
Yeah, he's just, and I don't know if he's, I think he's lying to himself more than anybody else. I think he really thinks, he honestly thinks he doesn't drink that much. And women are always hitting on him and making the first move on him. And he's just being friendly and is completely oblivious, which doesn't make him any better. He's still awful.
Yeah. He's so awful. Okay, speaking of awful, we got another couple people that are not so great themselves.
Oh,
that's Gino and Jasmine. So Jasmine is treating Gino to a do-it-yourself spa day. Jasmine wants him to take off his hat so she can reach his face, and he freaks out, but they compromise on him just flipping it backwards. Jasmine is rubbing lotions and steaming his face, then literally slapping a mask on him. Jasmine notes that they have always had a rough start in there whenever they get together, but then by the time they're in a place where they're really getting along, Gino has to leave. Jasmine brings up the urgency to get to the U.S., and Gino just asks for her to be patient again. So Jasmine asks if he will help to pay for the apartment until the visa is approved because she doesn't want to move again. Jasmine is almost in tears as Gino insists on finding a cheaper, but as he says, it's still nice apartment. Jasmine just asks him to say yes for once, and Gino says she sounds spoiled. Jasmine insists that he has the money to spend on sugar babies for $300 a date, and he gives his money to his ex to take themselves on vacations. Jasmine thinks that her rent is cheaper than a trip to Disneyland or Legoland. Things escalate very quickly as Gino tells her there's no comparison, and they call each other trash. Jasmine starts to take his hanging clothes and aggressively throws them on the floor, telling him to get out. Gino does the same with her clothes, and then Jasmine escapes to the bathroom and yells at him to get out of her way as she slams the door. There's a thud from the bathroom, and then Gino's yelling at her not to throw things. Jasmine comes out screaming, "Fuck you," 1,000 times. She calls him a cheap weirdo and tells him to get out of her house. Gino tells the production she's done as she throws the electric toothbrush on the floor as a callback to the last time they had this
toothbrushes. That's how we do it in this relationship.
Yeah. So Jasmine says she feels unloved and unappreciated as she sobs near Gino, like they're now weirdly on the couch, and then tells him that she's just tired. Jasmine is scared of coming to the U.S. and not having anyone but him, and whenever she has asked for money, he reacts like this. Gino wants credit for the money he has provided so far, and he's the one who feels unappreciated. Jasmine says moving around isn't fun or easy for her, and she actually likes her country and is only moving for him. She worries he will treat her badly if she moves and only has him to rely on. Jasmine then recaps the events that she was giving him a massage, and then, just out of nowhere, he started yelling at her. Gino doesn't think he treats her poorly at all. Gino says he wants to look at 2 other places, and then she will have to move, and that's just the way it is. Jasmine says that she doesn't feel like a priority to him, and she should be the most important thing in his life. Gino says that it's a tie between Jasmine and his family, and he says that, it'll be different after marriage, and then Jasmine calls him a fucking idiot. Gino then gets in her face saying his family is important too. Then they call each other fucking idiots and trash again. And by the way, this is in the interview, so it is 2 different arguments at 2 different times, supposedly.
Right. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So then Jasmine tells Gino that she is going to go back with her ex Dane because he is the best sex she's ever had. In fact, she just had it last month, and she has video proof. Gino says, well, then she's a whore, and it's over, as Jasmine storms off. Jasmine says this is it because she can't even breathe the same oxygen as him. Okay, so do you think Jasmine is lying about this cheating? Because why the heck is this cheating just coming out now? And why is she like, I don't know. It just seems like one of those things where it could be out of spite that she's saying this.
No, I could see her making this up out of anger, right? And saying it. It depends on when the month was, because I don't know when the interviews are in relation to the rest of the story either.
Right.
Because it was a month. She said it was within a month of the interview. Now, the part that I question is the video evidence part, because I've been with people for long-term relationships, very long-term relationships, where we've never filmed ourselves doing it.
Right.
And I can't imagine that I would do all that, and then just be like, well, when am I going to film myself doing it? It's when I'm cheating. That's when I want to have the video evidence to prove that I was that. I was like, of all the times, of all this, sexual events that you can film, why would you film the one where you're cheating? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, agreed. It is weird. Unless the only thing that I was thinking is maybe, and I feel like it would never come out this way, but if you're filming it, maybe that was her partner for her OnlyFans.
Yeah, maybe. But then he would know. It would be like if you were doing it on your OnlyFans, not like it would be a secret from Gino.
Right.
Like he would know it immediately, right?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I guess the only way it makes sense is if she only did it to spite Gino and wanted to make sure that there was video of it that she could show him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, because it is weird that she's pointing to video evidence because that could back it up. Because I was going to say that, I feel like she just made up the whole thing. I feel like she made up the whole thing, too. I feel like once she gets to that level of anger that we've seen her get to, she literally just says, what is the thing that is going to stab him the deepest, whether it's true or false or indifferent, that's what I'm going to say. But at the same time, too, I could also see her kind of going back and saying she said that out of anger, even though she didn't really mean it. And that is you are sowing the seeds of mistrust here, right?
Right. By
lying or cheating or possibly doing both. We don't know.
Yeah. And then that's true in any case. I cannot deal with a relationship where when people get mad, they quote say things they don't mean. Right. Now, how am I supposed to know what you do when you don't mean? When we're in a heated discussion, how are we supposed to resolve things when you're just making stuff up to give me angry. Now, which one? What am I supposed to trust? What am I supposed to believe? What am I supposed to believe when you're calm that that's the truth now? I don't know how to deal with that. And that's pretty much what dealing with Jasmine is, because like both times we saw her get mad, she yells about like she doesn't make any sense. It's just nonsense. Your $300 Legoland sugar babies, and it's like what is she talking about? Like, I'm so confused.
Yeah, especially because the stuff was from before, right? We're assuming the $300 sugar babies are things from before. I feel like she brings it up.
She brought
to
up like the Legoland
him.
Came up a long time ago too.
Yeah. But she thinks he has money, and, you know, that's why she feels like, well, why did these bitches get this stuff and I got nothing?
And at the end of the day, I feel like she's also just not, what she's saying is not in tune with why she's really upset. Like, I don't even think she's actually upset that he's not spending enough money on her. Like, I think she's upset because she was using this apartment as an insurance policy to make sure that this visa came through. And so him saying, hey, let's get a cheaper apartment is basically him saying, hey, let's push back this visa indefinitely. And that's where she's mad. But that's not what she says.
Yeah, well, that's not what she says. And I also feel like, you know, I get her side, right? It sucks to have to move and you're just like in limbo and stuff like that. But I don't know what the solution is, because Gino is not going to pay for this apartment.
No. I mean, she's got to get a job, I guess. Like, she's got to do something for herself. She has to stop being completely reliant on this guy. But yeah, I mean, that's where it was. I think she even said it. She legitimately picked out this apartment to light a fire under his ass, to be like, hey, the sooner you get this visa done, the sooner you don't have to pay for this expensive ass apartment anymore. Like,
right.
Now he's backing up, being like, well, I'm not going to pay for the expensive ass apartment. Like, we're done. And like, but like, even the trigger of it set her off in the interview, right? Like, who matters more to you, your family? Or he was like, well, it's a tie. And like, that didn't have to be. I don't understand how we went from that to 60. Like, that was just totally like almost out of nowhere. Like, I can see being like, seriously, Gino, you dumbass. like, right. And then he's super annoying because when he gets mad, like when she gets mad, she just goes crazy, right?
She goes
says all
nuclear,
kinds of stuff.
for
Nuclear.
sure.
When he gets mad, he just repeats the last thing she says to him, like back at her, which is annoying. Like she's like, you idiot. He's like, you're an idiot. He's like, you know, you're being crazy. No, you're crazy. You're like, you don't love me. No, you don't love me. Like, he just is like, what? Say something that she didn't just say to you, man.
Yeah, I'm shocked that these people are together. I kind of was like, they were winning me over as a couple recently, but their fights just get so bad that to me, it doesn't matter the good times that they have. This very clearly like negates that times 100.
No, and they've been through so many fights like this. I would say fight 1, I'm 90% out. If fight 2 happens, I'm done. Yeah. Like, that's it. If she yelled at me the way she yells at him, like at all, like I'm out. And he is a dick in lots of ways, and he mistreats her in lots of ways. His mistreatment isn't necessarily in the heat of the fight. Like, he does the passive aggressive shit and the proper equipment shit and stuff like that. But he also knows exactly how to push her buttons and get her to look like the crazy one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. All right.
That's everybody. No, I have one more. I have David and Sheila. So David looks like he's making his way out on his own. So Sheila is at a prayer service for her mother, and he's on his way downtown to buy what he says is something special for Sheila. Amy is not available today, so he's going to have to brave things with just his phone. So he thinks he's going to be ignored, and navigation, getting places is going to be difficult. When he gets out, he gets the driver to point him in the direction of the ring store. And while they do that, they do the muted audio thing for a while. Like, how could he possibly understand what's going on? So he wanders a bit and asks a few more people for directions and says, you know, that they have a romantic outing to the beach planned, and if things go well, he'll pop the question. So he ends up finding the ring store, and he's looking. While he's looking, tells us some things about why he loves her, And the ring shopping is tricky because the woman in the store keeps talking while he's not looking. Like he's looking at the ring and she's like, well, that one's a very beautiful ring. And she's like, he can't hear me. You're talking, not at him. So anyway, there's a lot of typing that goes on and it goes very slow. So he says Sheila's worth it. And he finally makes a decision and picks an $83 ring and hopes that it's the right time for this. But doesn't know when he'll get another chance to ask in person. So now David has less than a week in the Philippines, and he and Sheila are getting packed to their trip to Mobile. So Sheila, which is the beach trip. So Sheila gets a voice on the voice to text on the phone to say how excited she is she's going, and also ask that Amy not come with them. She's still dealing with some jealousy issues regarding Amy, especially if Amy's there on what's supposed to be their romantic getaway. So he agrees because he wants to talk to her about some things without other people there. So on the bus, they still are on the phone and like it's awkwardly reading the emoji out loud. It's like smiling face with tongue, smiling face with cheeks. And this all makes David wish Sheila knew how to sign because that would make things less weird and also faster, and especially less weird because the phone keeps talking out loud about like the sex stuff they're talking about on the invitation, like about his giant American penis. So wow, it's not great. So they get to the resort and Sheila obviously has to do all the talking there. So Sheila says it's the nicest place she's ever stayed when they get to the room, and they start by just jumping like into the bed. So David tells us that it's going to take a lot of hours of work to pay for this place, but she deserves it. And he wanted the perfect spot for his proposal. So once there, David wants to communicate only in sign language. Like, let's put the phone away and we'll just sign to practice. She's not doing all that great because she has to like spell out most of the words that she's speaking. Mm-hmm. And David kind of is like, why didn't you learn some sign language by now? Because, it's just too complex. But then it gets complex. They kind of go away from the only signs very quickly and the phone comes out. So in an interview, David tells us that Sheila's not using sign language has kind of been bothering him this whole trip. And he doesn't want to bring it up to her because, her mom just died and is not like, could you guys like please talk in sign language to me more?
Right.
So he's finding it harder to make a deep connection of her without being able to communicate fluently. So then they go, but that doesn't mean they aren't connected because soon they go to the bathroom to have a bath and a shower at the same time and presumably do other stuff there. All right. So I guess we start with that. I mean, this seems to be, David kind of feeling the distance between him and everybody over the communication issue, but specifically between him and Sheila. Like, I mean, could this be like a obstacle in this relationship if she can't pick up signs quick enough?
Yeah, but I think it's one that he's gonna be patient with, and I think that the more that he kind of forces her to sign by him signing mostly and only communicating with her that way, she'll pick it up. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be like Translator Amy where she picks it up in like a month or two.
She said a month.
Yeah, a month, but I mean enough to like kind of get by, I feel like. You know, and to feel like progress is being made. So, I mean, honestly, this is a pretty solid couple. Like, I'm not worried about them. I feel like these are just, challenges that they're facing, but it's not even challenge in the way of conflict, right? Yeah. I think they both shared would like for her to, sign language, but it's a challenge, right? It's difficult.
Right. And I just hope it's not a situation like from, other languages like Corey and Evelyn, right? Damn Corey lived in lived in Ecuador for 5 years and was still like, hola, ¿cómo estás? Like, how you lived there. What are you doing? Like,
yeah. But I think the difference here is that, Sheila is going to be moving to the U.S., and so David will be more in his comfort zone. And then I think Sheila is going to be more out of her comfort zone. So I feel like it's going to be beneficial for her to learn sign.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's just some people just aren't good at picking up languages, and it takes them a really long time.
I get it. It's hard, but at the same time, it's like one of two things then, if it's like so difficult. One, you probably shouldn't marry someone that you have communication issues with. Mm-hmm. That would be my first thing, right? And then, if you're open to that, you have to have a commitment to really learning that person's, and not just one person committing to the other person, right? It really should be two people committing to, learning the other person's language. That I think that, at least.
Yeah, I mean, well, in this case, obviously, it can only be one way, right? And this is one of those situations that's bad, because I do feel like if it's a bilingual household and you're marrying someone who speaks another language, you should learn each other's languages.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. But you're right, because what can David really do? I mean, he can't really just speak.
He can't learn English. He can't learn Tagalog. He can't speak.
Yeah.
He can't speak.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, I hope it works out, but because I feel like this was supposed to be the couple we're supposed to be rooting for, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They definitely seem like the healthiest couple that we have here.
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was all of our couples. So out of the group we saw this week, who was your student of the week?
Oh, geez. I'm going to say, well, I'll stick with that. I'll say David.
I did too. Yeah.
He's good. He's nice. He bought a ring. He's doing bought a nice place to stay, and also acknowledges that the time is money thing. He's maybe it's a blue collar thing to do, but I was kind of raised in that way of looking at a room and being how many hours does this room cost? How many hours do I have to work to pay for this room? Yeah.
Well, I thought was also interesting, and I know it was more Sheila, but recognizing that they're going to have to get used to living life without this translator.
Yes. Yeah, they have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What about your dunce?
We have many choices this time.
We do.
I'm going to say Jasmine. Either cheating and throwing it in their face in a fight, or not cheating and making it up to throw them in the face in a fight, is awful. It's just
I agree with you, and I went with Jasmine as well, because I feel like, as crazy as she is, we haven't really given to her much this season. And Christian seemed like the obvious choice, but I think I picked him the last 3 weeks.
I was definitely going between him and Christian, but at the end of the day, I was maybe I'll save Christian for the life lesson, which is right there. You can't invite someone to someone else's house without checking with them first.
Oh my gosh, right? Idiot.
So rude.
So rude. The other person who was definitely in contention for dunce for this week was Amanda. Well, I mean, she typically is. I think this week she was the least duncey that she's been.
Yeah, I would say this was her least duncey episode.
Yes.
She showed some bit of self-awareness.
Right.
This
and
time.
so
yes.
This is where my life lesson's coming from. It's totally understandable if you aren't over something, which she finally admitted this week. But at the same time, you can't just ignore all your close friends and family's concerns and plow through it anyway, because it's unhealthy. And this is the biggest thing, right? It's one thing, to me, my opinion, if you are being self-destructive. But the moment that you are dragging someone else into your vortex of terrible and hurting others, that's where I'm just no, you need to figure your shit out and not be so hurtful to others. Yeah.
You're allowed to, I didn't say you're allowed to hurt yourself as much as you want. You can't drag people with you, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So next week is Labor Day weekend. We will be traveling, both of us this time. So we will likely not be releasing until Tuesday and possibly even Wednesday.
Yeah, so that's right.
Thanks for your patience while we've kind of had a crazy last couple weeks, but after that, there's no travel in the near future. So we'll be releasing on Monday again.
Yes, right.
Yeah. All right. So until then.
Okay, talk to everybody then.
Okay, bye.